Good afternoon. How's everyone this afternoon? Well, we have had a wonderful 2 days here at the conference, had some awesome speakers, and I'm getting ready to introduce another great speaker to you all this afternoon. Kenneth Scarborough is the principal consultant of Legacy Enterprises Group, LLC. Legacy is a business consulting company designed to help businesses, groups, and individuals sustain their future on purpose. One of his current major contracts is as a consultant to the National Healthy Start Association Male Involvement, Where Dads Matter initiative, providing technical support to 101 federal Healthy Start projects, advancing best practices and trainings for fatherhood and male involvement. Previously, he served as the Chief Program Officer and Director of Ready for Work at Operations New Hope in Jacksonville, Florida. He was responsible for delivering a full range of wraparound life course services for men and women returning to the community from prisons and or jail. He directed a staff of 31 with 8 key managers serving over 1,500 persons per year, while he also served as chair of the Northeast Florida Healthy Start Coalition. Prior to becoming Chief Program Officer at ONH, he served as the project manager and male involvement coordinator for Reach Up Incorporated. He was responsible for the administrative oversight for the Federal Healthy Start Grant and a number of projects and programs related to fathers and men. For over 35 years, he has worked with African American and Hispanic boys and men in mentoring relationships, which he believes is essential for growing lives and building healthy communities. He has created Brother, I Got Your Back and other leadership programs for boys and men in New York, South Carolina, Colorado, Florida, and Costa Rica. He received his Master's of Divinity in Youth and Family Ministry at the Denver Seminary in Denver, Colorado, as well as a Master's in Public Health and Health Services Administration from the University of South Carolina in Columbia. He is married to Linda, and they have 2 children, Carissa, age 8, and Chris, age 14, and they are currently living in Irmo, South Carolina, serving as missionaries to Costa Rica. It is my pleasure this afternoon to introduce you all to Mr. Kenneth Scarborough.
Woohoo! I'm gonna be nice and just hold. Oops, I told you. Yep. It will take you out. Good afternoon, everyone. Y'all don't let itis set in. Now, you okay? See, there's one over there already. She's laying back in the chair. It is so good to be with you this afternoon, and I think I have an hour and a half, and so I should be good to go for a little bit. As long as you guys can stay awake, I can continue to talk. We okay? All right, well, welcome to AFC 2022. This is a great opportunity for us to look at advancing things forward. And so I get the opportunity to talk about this afternoon impact on fathers and fatherhood programs. And I also get to lead my own slides. So just a little bit of backdrop. We have come a long way as it relates to the Affirming Fatherhood Conference. Back in 2010, when we started in a little room at a conference center that no longer exists. And now we have found ourselves moving from hotels to resort areas, and obviously we are now visiting a church. And so we have come a long way over the years. And over those years, not only have we come from a long way as it relates to facilities, we've also come a long way as it relates to themes and thoughts over the years. And so we started always with the sports theme. We've gone from football to basketball to soccer to track and field. And because we are continuing to change, we also now have moved a little bit towards rap, having our keynote speaker as a rap artist. And so the thing that we always find out is there's always a change happening. So no matter how difficult things have been over the years, what we've been able to do is to pivot, redefine ourselves, and re-energize our efforts towards other areas. And so we find ourselves in different locations doing different things, but trying to remain relevant. And when it comes to building legacies, you have to constantly become relevant to your audience. And so if we did the same thing that we always do, then oftentimes we find ourselves at a loss. And so today we're just going to talk about some of the things that has kept us in terms of building this legacy around the Affirming Fatherhood Conference. And so as we talked about when we started, we've pivoted, we redefined, we realigned, we went through a whole gamut of sports, and then we've stayed the course. And staying the course for us means that our conferences are focused on affirming fathers. This is not one of those opportunities to go and to bash on dads and men. This is an opportunity for us to reinvigorate and to make sure that we're telling another part of the story as it relates to affirming fathers, because we value them and we believe that they are a huge part of the solution for what we are seeking to engage in. And so there's been some impacts on the fathers that we've served here in the Tampa Bay area. We have seen a whole lot from what we've been able to do. In 2005, when I started, there was little to no men being involved in services or in programs. But through the commitment of the CEO and the president, as well as the director of outreach, they were committed to making sure that men and fathers were being included in services. That's the only way it's going to happen. That there's got to be some advocacy, there's got to be some planning, and there's got to be some research in place to help everyone get on board, especially in the MCH world. Right? This is for her, this is for the child, and maybe, just maybe, we would give some consideration to the fathers. Now, because the president and the director of outreach was on board, that doesn't mean that everybody was on board, right? And so Vanessa, who's not here with us, she talks with me often about that she had to be convinced as the director of clinical services that there was a huge value as it relates to having men and fathers involved in services. And so we were able to do that, and this is how we did it. To make sure that there's a plan in place, to make sure that you've got some good advocates on your side, and that the research will bear out that if he is involved and engaged, you have better outcomes. Unless you want to continue to do what you're doing, right? You sometimes wonder whether or not we really want to see things change. For some people, it's job security, not making those changes. And so we need to be very mindful of that. So we started with a part-time position, I think maybe 10 or 12 hours a week, something like that, that they were paying, and they were willing to at least give, I think, up to like $25,000 maybe. We served under 10 people in the beginning. But over the years, we've seen the staff grow from a part-time position to 7 positions now. Reach up. We've also seen that we've moved from serving 10 men to over 200 or 300 men a year. And we're talking over a series of years when you're adding those numbers up. And if you look at, which is impressive for me, although maybe not as impressive for the CEO and president, but there is over $310,000, and obviously an additional part of $50,000 that came earlier today, committed to serving men and fathers. That's a long ways from $25,000. But Ms. Berry's goal is $750,000, before the end of 2022. Yeah, she's looking at her watch. She's like, is we in 20? Yes. So it's got to be aggressive commitment to advocacy, to research, to planning, to make sure that this happens. And so fatherhood stuff just doesn't happen because it is one of the most difficult groups to work with, especially in our communities. There are so many other things to focus on, but the commitment is there to make this happen. So there's also the service areas. So we started with kind of one service area, just kind of focusing on mentoring a little bit, a single focus, intergenerational, and now all of these services are now available. From mentoring to case management to mental health to 24/7 dads to stress relief to child development. And not only that, the AFC, which is now 12 years old this year. So that has just been some of the impact. And one of the photos you see up there is, and I can't remember the year, but this young man was in high school. One of the first times that we picked him up from Blake High School and brought him over to one of the conferences. From that, he morphed from just being a troubled kid to now he is a father who is married. He has his own business around photography. He works for Coke, and he is doing extremely well, and I can't wait to see him later on this evening. So that's the kind of impact that can be made because there's a commitment towards services for fathers and men. And so he desires and has proven to be a father who is present, who is actively engaged in the lives of his children as well as in the lives of his family as a whole. And he has done some tremendous work. So also, if you want some photos, he's a photographer as well. So in addition to that, in terms of fathers that we have impacted, through AFC, there's been many programs that have been impacted as well. So early on, back in 2013, there was a statewide funding that came from the March of Dimes to make sure that there was a concerted effort across the state of Florida for services to be focused on fathers and men. So there was a coming together of groups of programs, MCH programs throughout the state of Florida to come together to work on a common kind of theme for the state as it related to services. And we came in and in 2013, and there was also an evaluation piece that was developed from those fundings, and that was a tremendous conference that happened here through AFC. In addition to that, we've had some regional and national impacts as well. And some of those persons, they are in here, have been in here, but I want to just highlight two of them. One of them, first of all, is Northeast Florida Healthy Start Association through the group called Fatherhood Pride with Jack Johnson and their team. So Jack Johnson, like me, started as a part-time position, and they were only paying him about $15,000 a year, and he was supposed to deliver all these services. So he has attended 11 of the 12 AFC conferences. 11 of the 12 of them. And he started serving about 10 or 15 fathers. And over the series, over the last 4 or 5 years, they were able to serve 1,500 fathers because they received a grant from $15,000 up to $1.3 million each year for 5 years. And a lot of that inspiration came because they came together in groups and gatherings just like this through AFC. Who would have thought taking a jump from 15,000 to 1.3 million each year for 5 years, serving 1,500 men or more each of those years? That's the kind of impact we hope to see by your presence today, because we want to make sure that you are just as committed to fathers and services around fathers as we are. So another program is with Sekou, and he left because he wants to get his flight this afternoon. I don't know why. I mean, Florida is such a wonderful place to stay, but he wanted to get away. But he started from a place of, from what he describes as not really having a lot of knowledge as it relates to working with fathers. Because working with fathers, especially in a Healthy Start environment, is very different than just working with men. Because from Healthy Start, we're talking about the entire life cycle. We're talking about from his health to her health to child health to ongoing health for generational health. When you're working with father, hey, if you can get them a job, you're cool, you're good, you go ahead and do your thing, right? But in Healthy Start, there's got to be a long-term commitment. And he started from a place of not really having a lot of knowledge. And so what happened for him is that he came to these conferences to grow, to network, to build the development, and an entire program that he was able to craft in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so that that program can gain credibility within the scope of all MCH programs in the Department of Health in Tulsa. And as a result, he started with a couple of fathers that he served, like maybe 2 or 3 fathers, that he's now responsible for at least 80 to 100 fathers every year. He attended 5 of the 12 fatherhood conferences, and so he has been able to integrate fatherhood services within the network of the Tulsa community. In fact, they have 2 federally funded Healthy Start sites in the same city of Tulsa, which you just don't see happen. And so we're grateful for the impact that we've had. We have another one over here from New Haven that they come all the way from, there you go. They've come from Connecticut, and we've had people come all the way from California for our conferences. And so we are fully committed to the AFC, Affirming Fatherhood, because there's no conference like ours. We haven't had the dancing yet. I don't know what happened to the dancing this year, but I guess we're all shifting, right, and pivoting. Y'all in the church, so maybe y'all don't think y'all can dance. So as it relates to moving forward, impact forward, this is what we want to do. What we want to do is we actually want to drive a car. And we want to drive a car because, first of all, we want to continue to serve fathers. We want you to continue to make yourself known and your commitment to fathers. That's the C. To continue to just tell the message about fathers and the importance of fathers in families and in communities. The next thing what we want to do is to advance. We want you to continue to advance your work forward. Some of the things that you are doing are tremendous, and we know that you're making some strides and impacts. And we want you to continue to make those advancements so that folks can look around and see not only where you come from, where you are, and where you're looking to go. Advancement. And then finally, we want you to remain committed to the cause as it relates to serving men and their fathers. No matter how we pivot, no matter how we change, no matter how we do things different, the one thing we continue to do is to affirm and value fathers. Nothing else for us in our work matters than doing that. Because when we do that, when we affirm fathers, when we value fathers, we are then able to engage fathers. And they can trust us. And they no longer will need to go underground, but they can always stand proud because of what we're doing and how we're doing it. And so as I leave you, as my shirt reads, on this Blue Friday, a future of certainty. The only way that's going to happen is through you and the legacy that you will leave for all of us. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. And I want you to not slip. There you go. All right. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Ken, what we're getting ready to do now is perfect. I mean, your presentation was just absolutely perfect in terms of leading us to where we are now. The Affirming Fatherhood Planning Committee this year, of course, as Mrs. Berry mentioned yesterday, we have a theme about legacy. And we chose that theme about legacy because it's actually the theme that our gala committee came up with for the tremendous gala that we had back in April of this year. I want Rhonda Rhodes, who is the chair of the Reach Up Incorporated Foundation, to stand. I just want her to stand because I just want her to get more accolades for what they did in terms of the gala. There are people still talking about the gala. The week after the gala, I was spending all my time trying to get phone numbers of folks who helped put the gala together because it was tremendous. And Jeff Rock back here, who's our advancement director, wave your hand, Jeff. One of those people really, really responsible for a tremendous time. But we decided that we would piggyback on that theme of legacy for our conference. And then we thought, you know what? There are some folks who we need to recognize because of the legacy they are leaving and have left in terms of fatherhood work in the area. Let me just share very briefly. Maya Angelou said, "Your legacy is every life you've touched." Your legacy is every life you've touched. So if you think about that, it means that it's the organization, it's the teams, it's the people that you've touched that's your legacy. It's how you've shown up, how you've been present to every one of them, who you've helped or mentored or taught, and those who've been moved by your role model and your journey. It's your behavior, how you have walked your talk, and the example that you've shown each and every life that you touched. That's what matters. And that's what your legacy is about. I tell a little story that I'm going to tell briefly about a woman in our community who used to have a side hustle of making sweet potato pies, and some of you all have heard this, so just hear it again. And one of her customers died. And so at the wake, she bought a sweet potato pie and set it down beside the flowers. And so somebody said to her, "Miss Pete, what you doing bringing that sweet potato pie up in here?" And she said, "Because he can eat that pie as good as he can smell those flowers." So one of the things that taught me is that when it comes to legacy, when at all possible, don't wait. Don't wait. Appreciate people for their legacy, for what they're doing right now. And so we got nominations, And there are 4 people who were selected by our committee to receive our inaugural Legacy Award. These are people who, when it comes to fatherhood work, and particularly those folk who have been all of this to Reach Up, folks who have walked their talk with Reach Up and what we do to love and engage fathers. We wanted those folk to have our inaugural Legacy Award. So, Mr. Michael, Mr. Darnell, do we have some photos back there of our Legacy Award winners? So we just bring them up one at a time, bring up the photos one at a time. Okay, there we've got Adewale Troutman, Evangeline Best, that's who I'm seeing. So we've got Edna Rain, and we've got Dr. Ronnie Wilson. So what I'm going to do is, just in relationship to the order that the nominations came in, I'm going to ask Edna Rain to come up. And you can just stand so I can tell a little story about you. When we got money from the Children's Board of Hillsborough County to start 24/7 Dad in 2011, one of the things that we knew is that we were going to have advocates and community champions. Advocates, like you said, Ken, advocates and community champions. So I, along with Evangeline Best, called a community meeting. And Ed, I don't know if you remember, but you were there. That first community meeting to get 24/7 Dad started in 2012, Ed, you were there. And you have been with us every step of the way ever since. And so we thank you for, as Maya Angelou says, we thank you for the lives that you touch, for the fathers that you've helped. I never forget, we did a radio show with Pete Edwards, and you called in talking about the importance of affirming fathers for the wonderful things that they do rather than focusing on what's not going on. So, Ed, we appreciate it. Ken, when you come up, I want you to be the one. Ken is right. We hired Ken at point 24 FTE. 10 hours a week to try to get some things done. So, Ken, would you go to our round table and get the Legacy Award for Edna Rain? And I'm going to hand the mic to Ed, and Ed said, you don't tell a politician you got a long time. So, Ed, you got 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, let me just say thank you from Reach Up for this, really just a magnanimous gesture and award. When I hear legacy, I'm thinking of people that are retiring or people that are, getting ready to step aside, and I'm far, far, far away from that, hopefully. But it really is an honor to be recognized by such an important organization in our community. Dr. Austin is correct. I'm always going to be an advocate for fathers. I have 2 little girls of my own that are not so little anymore. One is a teenager, one's a preteen. And I remember when they were little girls, I'd bring them everywhere I went because I thought it was important for them to have exposure in our community to the things that are going on. And too often we are hearing about the bad things that are not happening, that fathers are not doing. But let me tell you, fatherhood work is so important, and I'm glad we're in a church because I can say this without anybody criticizing me. If you think about what your role is as a man, for any man who's hearing my voice right now, you have a responsibility that was God-given to you to protect and provide for your family. So when I think about Tony Evans, he always says, if you want to fix the world, you start with the man in the home. And that is the truth, because if you can fix the father, you can fix the home. You fix the home, you fix the neighborhood. You fix the neighborhood, you fix the city. You fix the city, you fix the county. You fix the county, you fix the state. Fix the state, you fix the country. You fix the country, you fix the world. So never believe that the work you're doing with a handful of fathers at a program is not important, because that one change, that one father can fix the problems that are going on all throughout this country. So I just want to say to Reach Up, thank you for the work that y'all decided to invest in many, many years ago. I remember sitting down with Ms. Beston filling out one of the surveys when this started. And so to see this conference continue to grow and to have such a national impact really does my heart well. So thank you again for this award, and I really appreciate y'all. I think you might want to get a photo. Oh, you know what your good side is.
So, as we said, one of the things that we talk about is that your legacy is every life you touched. And we don't have to wait. That's what we felt with Reach Up, that we don't have to wait until someone's not here to say that they are legacy for us. So the next person I want to invite up is a young person as well, and that's Dr. Ronnie Wilson. As you can see, Dr. Wilson has participated in the conference today. She talks about how she is the local evaluator for Reach Up Incorporated. Or one of the things that she doesn't talk about sometimes is how much she's come to love fatherhood work, and now creating a body of research around fatherhood work and mentoring a group of students doing work around father engagement. And we are so happy to have Dr. Powers in our community, and his introduction to us came through Dr. Wilson. So one of the things that we said is that if we don't hurry and give Dr. Wilson this award now, one of her students, she's got 3 students working on dissertation research on father engagement. Folks, don't you know that's going to change the world in terms of the way we look at fathers and fatherhood work? And so one of these, I guess if we want to call them living legends or legacies or whatever, she is one. So we just want to thank Dr. Wilson for the work that she's done and let you know truly we are appreciative for every life that you've touched, every father that you've never met, whose life you've touched because of the research that you do, and the life of every father that you will touch when you're long gone, and you have students who are still doing the work and still touching the lives of students. So Dr. Wilson, we are so grateful to award you one of Reach Up's inaugural Legacy Awards.
So you saw me trying to get off the stage without saying something. Okay. Not happening. I'm so honored. Thank you so much, Reach Up. Thank you so much. This award means so much to me because I just do the work that I'm passionate about. So I get up every day and do the work that fills my heart. So to be recognized for the work that I do is truly an honor. It's also an honor to do this work with Reach Up. I have a lot of people to thank. I'll be quick. I want to thank Ms. Loberry. I want to thank Dr. Austin. I want to thank all the others who do this great work and for allowing me to come alongside them and do this work. So thank you to all of you who are here, who are passionate about fathers, who are passionate about families, and let's continue to do this great work. I also want to thank my heart, who took off work today to see me receive this award. He's recording it so that our children can see me receive this award. So thank you all for your support. I appreciate it.
Dr. Wilson's husband, Kim was up here saying, does he have a name? But Dr. Wilson's husband, do you mind standing up so everybody can see you? And this is not the first time he's here supporting her. I remember doing focus groups on Saturday with him and the children. So, but that's what happens. He's one of the reasons that she's a legacy. So we thank you so much as well. One of the other folks who we will be awarding the Legacy Award to is Evangeline Best. She is health challenged right now, or else she would have been here. In fact, she tried to be here, but her daughters have now taken control of her health, and they would not allow her to come. They texted me this morning, last night, and said, you know she wants to be here, but we won't let her. So we just want to thank Evangeline Best. She also has been with us from the very beginning. In fact, we hired her as a recruitment specialist. And very interestingly, as she was recruiting these young men, they came to us and asked us if she could facilitate their 24/7 dad group, because she became for them a mother and grandmother. And I can remember some of the young men saying, she's so important to us because often you talk about how we grew up without our fathers, but sometimes we grew up without our mothers as well. So we know nothing about a woman except one thing, that got this baby here. And so it's really important for her to be in our lives to help mother us and help us to understand more about what a woman is like. And so we love her and we thank her, and I promised her daughters that I would get the trophy and certificate to her. But we love her so much, and just so grateful for all the work she does and continues to do. Those men out in the community still call her mama whenever they see her in the street and still want her to be involved in their lives. So we're very grateful for Evangeline Best. We talked about trying to make sure that we are able to appreciate people while they're with us. This last award goes to someone who is not with us, who has transitioned to the ancestors, but the love of his life is here with us. And there we talk about Dr. Adewale Troutman. And I'm holding on to this table because I need to. Dr. Adewale Troutman is so special to Reach Up Incorporated. Not only the tremendous, tremendous work that he's done, particularly making sure that here in this nation and around the world, we knew that we had to deal with issues of health equity. And we were just beyond ourselves when we found out that he was coming to USF in Tampa. One of the things that we do as part of our orientation at Reach Up is to have every one of our staff members take a video or streaming and watch a session from a California newsreel segment called Unnatural Causes, Is Inequality Making Us Sick? One of those segments is called In Sickness and in Wealth, and it highlights Adewale Troutman and the work that he did with the Metro Louisville, Kentucky Health Department, work that has impacted everything that we do in this country and also around the world. We know that though he might not be here with us physically, that he is here with us spiritually. You know, one of the things that we know is that death ends a life, but not a relationship. And so the love that we have will always remain. And so the legacy that he is and has been, Reach Up wants to honor today. So if one of the great loves, the greatest love of his life, he has other loves, but this one, if she would just come up, Denise Troutman, if she would just come up and receive this legacy award on his behalf.
First of all, thank you to Reach Up. This is new to me, not having Adewale. But I remember when he came here to Tampa, he was really excited about starting an academic portion of his career. And as he got into academia at USF, what he yearned for more than anything else was getting out in the community and touching people again, different than being at USF. And so in a sense, Reach Up gave Ade that opportunity to get back out in the community that he yearned for so much. And I remember him coming home and saying to me, damn, those ladies are really doing some things down there. It used to make me nervous, actually. I didn't know what those ladies were doing. But no, he said that they were literally able to reach out and be amongst so many and do the work. And Ade was about doing the work. And so for Reach Up to be in his life in his last days, you all left a legacy in him because you touched him like he hadn't been touched in a while. He was an organizer, and he was unapologetically Black, unapologetically there for the underserved communities, unapologetically there for women and children, as he didn't have a father in the home. So when this part of the program came up with Reach Up, it was like that missing piece that just completed the work that you all were doing. So I thank you, Lo. Thank you, Deb, from the bottom of my heart. We appreciate this, and his spirit lives on. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you all so very much. And I'm going to have Miss Cheryl Fitzpatrick come up. She has some special announcement to make.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to say a special congratulations to the Legacy Award members. It's just been an honor just to listen and hear the wonderful legacy that you're leaving today and in the future. So again, congratulations. Part of this conference included using the Hoover app, and that Hoover app allowed us an opportunity for participants to interact with each other. One of the things that we would hear from previous evaluations is, I want some opportunities to really meet new people and network with new people and maybe get some articles and research information and so forth. So we're very glad, excuse me, and pleased that you had an opportunity to use that app especially the leaderboard, which recorded all the different activity that people were engaged in. So I'm pleased to announce the first, second, and third prize winners. And I believe they are in the room today. Our first prize winner and the first, second, and third prize winners will each win a $25 e-gift card from Amazon. First prize winner is Miss Natasha Ray. Oh. Well, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you so much. Tell me, what was it like using the gamification and engaging in all those different activities for you?
It was awesome because I'm not on social, so it allowed me real time.
Thank you very much. Again, congratulations for being number one.
Thank you.
All right. I like that excitement. I'm going to spend my $25 e-gift card. Yeah. Uh-oh. That's between the two of you. The second person that's won a prize, I'm looking at his face. Mr. Ken Scarsborough. I believe so. That you obviously you engaged in group activity and articles and photos and all that other good stuff. Oh, good. So tell me, what was your experience like with the?
Absent? I didn't do anything.
Well,
I'm
the
serious.
leaderboard said otherwise.
Okay,
So.
well, I take it. Thank you all for probably my name, helping me to win. Thank you, Ms. Ray. She probably did something on my behalf.
Hey, well, it's a good thing. You benefited.
Give me my money.
We'll give it to you, next week. Promise. Promise. And our last winner is Mr. Glenn Brown. And I don't believe Glenn is here, but we want to say congratulations. He's our third prize winner. Again, each first, second, and third prize winner will receive an e-gift card, a $25 value gift card from Amazon. Please be on the lookout for an email from Dr. Austin next week. Promise. Check your spam. Okay. Again, thank you so much for participating in the gamification and all the activities. The good thing about using that platform is you can network before, during, and after the conference has ended. So I encourage you to continue to strengthen those new connections. The second thing I'm scheduled to do is our survey. Again, yesterday we had day one survey, and thank you for all of you who completed day one survey. Today I'm asking for you to complete day two survey. So it's very important for you to give us feedback, suggestions, ideas, give us feedback on the excellent sessions that we had, on the keynote presenter that we had today. If there are ideas or suggestions you have for next year, we welcome them. And if you just have a general recommendation, please include that in the survey. So I'm looking kind of at the audience, and it appears that people are checking out and completing the surveys. Thank you very much.
If you guys can finish in one more minute, we will do our Father's Pledge, and we invite all fathers forward. Fathers forward, fathers forward. Our men, fathers to be. All right, all men and fathers, if you would come forward, line up across the front. You on this one? You're not coming?
Okay, all right.
Okay. So if we can get those who are left in the audience to stand with us as we get ready to read the Father's Pledge together. This is something that we instituted years ago as it relates to really trying to get fathers and men to commit to what we are aspiring to do through our Affirming Fatherhood conference. And so, not that we remember this throughout the year, but hopefully some part of it will connect with you, that some part of it that you will be committed to remembering. Rodney, you can turn this way. And so Rodney and I will be leading together our pledge for this afternoon. And those of you who are standing in the audience are actually witnessing that which we are committing to in the pledge to the best of our ability. Right? Okay. So together, Father's Pledge. Today I pledge and commit to fulfill my duties as a father.
Today I pledge and commit to fulfill my duties as a father.
I pledge to dedicate my heart,
My heart,
my mind, and my time
my mind, and my time
to being the best father I can be.
to being the best father I can be.
I pledge to be an example
I pledge to be an example
of what a man should be
of what a man should be
at home,
at home,
in relationships,
in relationships,
and in community.
and in the community.
I pledge to provide
I pledge to provide
for all of my children
for all of my children
spiritually,
spiritually,
emotionally,
emotionally,
and financially.
and financially.
I pledge to protect
I pledge to protect
my children
my children
and teach them
and teach them
to value themselves and others.
to value themselves and others.
I pledge to honor
I pledge to honor
their mother
their mother
and show by example
and show by example
how a man should treat a woman.
how a man should treat a woman. I pledge to honor my daughter as a princess
I pledge to honor my daughter as a princess
and to fortify her esteem,
and to fortify her esteem,
value, and self-worth.
value, and self-worth.
I pledge to honor my son
I pledge to honor my son
as a prince
as a prince
and to establish his identity,
and to establish his identity,
value,
value,
and self-worth.
and self-worth.
I pledge to stand up for fathers,
To stand up for
fatherless children,
fatherless children,
to mentor them
to mentor them,
and provide direction
to provide direction
and guidance
and guidance
to them whenever possible.
to them whenever possible.
I pledge to fight for my community
I pledge to fight for my community
and to be a leader
and to be a leader
and an example
and an example
of what a father should be.
of what a father should be.
I pledge to love my children
I pledge to love my children
and family
and family
unconditionally
unconditionally
and to always
be
there for them.
there for them. This is our pledge for those of you who got bags. These are in there for you. The references are in here as well, and we encourage you as you do your work, look and see which parts of these that we can help to motivate and move fathers forward. Remember, we are creating a legacy for fathers for generations to come. Thank you very much. All right.
Ken and Rodney, thank you so much for that. Sometimes we just have to do those ritualistic kinds of things to, Ken, as you say, help us to remember. So, it has been a tremendous 2 days. We are learning a great deal of how to do this thing after we've come off COVID. And we're learning more and more about how to use the Hoover app. We're learning more and more about how to do these kinds of things in a hybrid fashion, which is probably what's going to happen for a lot of conferences for years to come. And so we are very grateful for all of you who came out in person. We want to thank all of you who are participating virtually. Thank you. Thank you so much. We want to thank the folks here at the Crossover Church. They have just been tremendous in every way possible. So we just thank you and just appreciate what you're doing in the community. Thank you for the opportunity, for the tickets to the Lion King. And I know that many of us will be right here, either that Saturday or some other time during the period of time in which you have the performance. So thank you so very much. Please thank Pastor Tommy Force and everybody who was in any way involved in having us here. Thank Lily Force. We know she had another event, but she is the one that we've been contacting. We thank Loriana. We thank Pastor Darnell. Just thank all of you for everything that you've done. We want to thank our sponsors and supporters. And since we've got a few minutes, I'm going to call names. So we want to thank the Children's Board of Hillsborough County, who's our major title sponsor. We want to thank Simply Healthcare Plan, who is our gold sponsor. We want to thank Florida Blue and Mission Search, our silver sponsors. Several gold sponsors, the Early Learning Coalition, Walmart, Mark Rhodes, Nick Digler-Romlo, and Pam and Phil Pfeiffer. Our donor sponsor, the Florida Aquarium and Bill Guglielmi. Our supporters, Allegra Printing and Marketing, Jerk Hut, right across the parking lot, the Jerk Hut Grill and Beach Club, Miller's House, Portillo's Hot Dogs, the Tampa Bay Parenting Magazine, WFLA News Channel 8, and WMNF.org, of course, our radio station here. We cannot say enough about our AFC Planning Committee and all of the folks in those committees. We also thank the organizations that allowed their staff to be involved in the planning. And so we thank you all very much. Can't forget to thank the Reach Up Board of Directors. Mr. Vreeland was here yesterday. We can't forget to thank the Reach Up Foundation Board of Directors. Rhonda Rose is here. Thank you so much. Of course, we could never forget to thank our President and CEO, Lo Berry. Again, in a special way, I want to thank Ken Scarborough. He's very modest about it all. But as we said, we started off in 2005. Ken was 0.25 FTE. He worked 10 hours a week for us. But he totally helped change our organization, just in terms of our mindset about fathers and fatherhood work. You know, Ken always reminded us that in the work we do, fathers and men cannot be tangential. They have to be center and at the core. And so, Ken, we thank you so very much for all that you taught us. We thank you so very much for continuing to walk this journey with us. And we just ask continued blessings on you and all that you do, because we know ourselves, many young men that you've mentored, not just the one we saw on the screen, but many, many young men that you've mentored that have just become tremendous men. And I count it a blessing that some of you, those men that you mentored, now call me Mama D. And I count that indeed a great blessing. So some of you may know that our president and CEO plans to retire at the end of this year. So this is her last Affirming Fatherhood conference as president and CEO. It's not going to be her last conference, but it's going to be her last conference as president and CEO. So we have to take the time to really thank her for what she's done. And again, I want to thank Rhonda Rhodes and the folk with the gala who really, really helped to make sure that we honored her. So I'm going to get out of the way. I was getting ready to say I was going to get out of the way and let her be the last voice that you all hear.
Okay. You're going to stand right by me like you always do. So my heart is really full because this is my last AFC as president CEO. And Doc is right, it's not my being a participant because that's something that's never going to go away. I just have a lot of things to be grateful for, being president and CEO of the best CBO this side of heaven with the best staff this side of heaven, really blessed. And I have every confidence that whomever come at the helm in my stead is going to be the right person and going to be undergirded by the best people they could ever be. Doc is not too far behind me, but when we made this commitment as they call us a triumphant, the board of directors. And so Vanessa, our clinical director, went first. That was our agreement. Then it would be me, and then it would be Doc. And so Doc ain't that far behind me, but we're really fortunate and blessed, and I'm happy about a lot of things, a whole lot that we have done. But the one thing that I am truly, truly proud of is this Fatherhood Initiative. And where we come from with it, we, and Ken them didn't talk about it, but I think what's really important, we were really instrumental on a federal level to make sure that on a national level with Federal Healthy Start and our 102 project sites, that we will have benchmarks, you know, saying how important it is for dads to be involved. And we have 2 what we call clinical benchmarks. And Reach Up and what we did with AFC was very much a part of that national benchmark. So if you get money or funds from that, then those things have to be measured. That's really important, how you get the funds in your local communities and across the country. And so we were really integral in that process, and to see from whence we come, and although COVID kind of kicked me in the butt a little bit with my goal, I'm still gonna work on that goal from the sideline to make sure that it happens. So I can't say enough about the importance of this legacy, the theme, because more than ever in my lifetime, we absolutely got to convene and coalesce and mobilize together to affirm fathers and fatherhood so that our children, our children's children, and our loved ones in our community can move from the trajectory that it's on now to a more humane trajectory, and one in which our dads would be at the center and the helm of better health, optimal health. So I thank you, and none of this, none, even with me, could be done in the fashion that it has been done without Doc being in the forefront. And Doc, I want to personally thank you, because when I made this such a big deal, Doc picked it up, and she embraced my vision, and it's because of Doc that it's come to fruition. So I love you, and I thank you.
Love you as well. Thank all of you. It looks like this time next year, it will be September 14th and 15th. September 14th and 15th. But one of the things we always like to do is check with many of our other organizations so we won't be running into each other, so that we can actually support each other rather than just be competing with each other because of time. Some of you will be traveling. I'm not going to call names, but those of you who are traveling, we definitely wish you traveling grace. We're so glad you're here. You know, we're all family. If you need us, call us, because if we need you, we sure are going to call you. All right? All right, we got one of our other federal Healthy Start projects here, other state Healthy Start project here, I know we have. And so when we need each other, we'll just call on each other, because we are all family. So thank you all so very much, all of you here, and we'll do it again this time next year.
Area.